This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is presented by the St. Johns River Water Management District. And now, a guy still standing after avoiding a play-in, J.P. Shadrick.
And welcome in. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. It is April 18th, 1 week to the NFL Draft. A busy hour ahead. Well, because it's a week ahead of the draft, the pre-draft media luncheon today, featuring Doug Pederson and Trent Baalke. We'll hear from both the head coach and general manager. Some comments from them coming up shortly. Earlier in the week, the players back in the building for the offseason program. Phase 1, Trevor Lawrence and Foye Oluokun. We'll hear from both of those guys. We'll keep it real as we always do. Microsoft questions coming up in just a little bit as well. And Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. We're on 1010XL, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, J.P. Shadrick, with Jeff Lageman, who is finally making his way into the studio. Welcome, 1,000 welcomes. Glad you could make it with your fresh, hot coffee with creamer in it, and good afternoon.
Thank you, J.P. Was just conversing with a few of the leftover media members in the media room.
Those aren't leftovers. Those are fresh starters. Those guys.
Yeah. But I mean, the leftover guys, the guys that are still kind of hanging out for a little bit, wanting to talk. And I was looking at my watch, going, "Guys, I gotta go."
You didn't have to go far, which is a good part.
No, I didn't have to go far
about this building. And busy week. Players are back.
Busy day.
Baalke and Pederson speaking today, and we're a week to the draft, and there's a lot to discuss today.
It's a cool time of year for the NFL because this is the hope springs eternal. I guess is the saying that you could kind of use for this time of year because every team is kind of getting started with the off-season stuff, and so there's a little bit of excitement that builds in every community that these NFL teams are at. And then also with the draft right around the corner, that provides hope for a lot of teams that haven't been that good. That, hey, look, maybe this year we can really get some good players to where we can compete. We can compete for a title, including this team. So it's a fun time of year to be an NFL fan because you're not losing. Everybody's good. Everybody's got a hope.
Yeah, most everybody.
Well, who doesn't? Name me one team that doesn't have hope.
The Cardinals.
Yeah, that's true.
There's one.
Gosh, what's going on? I mean, are you following what's going on with Terry McDonough?
He's suing everybody. I guess.
Well, no, he's not suing everybody. Right. He's going to go after the Cardinals, though.
Yeah.
Bidwell, I mean, some of the things that are coming out on that kind of stuff, if people haven't read it, I mean, go read about the Cardinals and Terry McDonough, who I know Terry. Mm-hmm. He was here for a period of time with the Jaguars. And he filed a grievance against the Cardinals, which it's his right to do that. That's how the system is set up. And then the Cardinals came at him with almost a personal attack, and which was found by an in-house person that looks at those things for the NFL, found it to be true. And they were bad-mouthing Terry as his family. I mean, it's just a bad thing.
Yeah. So that was the first team that popped in my head. That might not have a – we'll see.
Well, if you got Bidwell running the show, yeah, you don't have a whole lot of chance of winning football games in Arizona.
Let's get to a team that does have a chance, and this is the Jacksonville Jaguars, of course, and the GM Trent Baalke and head coach Doug Pederson speaking earlier today at a press conference at 2 o'clock here at the Miller Electric Center in the pre-draft media luncheon. Trent Baalke discussing trade possibilities from number 17.
There's a lot, as you know, that goes into it. You know, we feel good about the group that's there, at different positions, that we're focused in on a little bit. But you don't know what's going to happen. You really aren't going to know what we're going to do until maybe the 12th or 13th pick. And then we'll look at the opportunity to potentially move up. And if we get to 16 like we did last year and somebody calls and there's a chance to move back one or two, you just don't know. You're playing it on game day.
So he mentioned last year, and actually last year, Logs, the Jags moved back twice in the first round before picking Anton Harrison in the first round, the right tackle. And it has happened a number of times. In fact, 8 different times, 8 different drafts, the Jaguars have first-round trade history, either up or down or trading back into the first round. Starting way back in 95, they started 31st overall with a supplemental pick. They obviously had the number 2 pick that year with Baalke, but they had a later pick and moved up to 19th overall in that draft to get James Stewart. Rob Johnson traded to Buffalo to get the 9th overall pick, of course, in 98. Fred Taylor, 2007. Reggie Nelson was the pick when the Jags moved down to 21. 2008, Derek Harvey was the pick. They moved up to 8th to get him. 2011, Blaine Gabbert moved up to 10th to get him from 16. 2012, moved up from 7 to 5 to get Justin Blackmon. And then a trade up back into the first round in 22 to get Devin Lloyd. And as we mentioned, Anton Harrison last year.
Leave that graphic up for a minute.
Jaguars.com, free video.
If you look at that graphic and you say, okay, what can be learned from this? What do you take away from that graphic? Because hindsight's always 20/20, but look, you sometimes have to use hindsight to be able to learn about what not to do or what to do in the future.
I see James Stewart had some big moments here. Fred Taylor certainly did.
Well, that's not really. I mean, that wasn't an active trade during the draft process. That was
right.
Okay. So I don't consider that. I'm talking about trading up or down in the first round.
Well, it costs you a lot to move up. I know that.
Well, and also look, you traded up to get James Stewart. Okay, good football player, solid guy. I mean, great guy. Yeah. Was it ultra productive? No. Reggie Nelson, 17th, and you moved to 21st, so I was a trade back. But then you moved up to the 8th spot overall for Derek Harvey. That did not work out.
Nope.
It did not work out for Blaine Gabbert, but I get it. You're taking a shot at a quarterback. Sometimes you have to do that. You traded up to get Justin Blackmon. It didn't pay any dividends, okay? And then you also, with Devin Lloyd, you traded up to get Devin. And right now, if you're making an opinion on that, was that a success or was that just kind of
I think the jury's still out
still
on
be determined.
But
right now, if you had to make a decision on it, you would say, wasn't a great trade.
But it's not done yet.
And then, to trade back and to get Anton Harrison, you acquired so many extra picks. So the lesson is, to me, is that trading up is not necessarily a positive thing. And Trent Baalke alluded to that in his press conference today. He said, look, the analytics guys will tell you that trading up is never a good thing. And he's right. Mm. Unless you're going up to get a quarterback, in my opinion, for every other position, you just stay put where you are, or you try to move back and then take the best available player. Not a guy that, he might be the best player, but we got a need there. No. Take the best available player always, in my opinion.
Unless you know for a fact in your heart of hearts that the guy you're moving up for another position is a Hall of Fame talent, right? How do you really know that?
You don't know that.
You don't know that.
You don't know that.
But if
you'll never know that.
If you have a philosophical...
It's a percentages game.
Yeah.
It's a percentages game. So...
If you got Aaron Donald sitting there waiting on you, but they
when
didn't
Aaron
know that
Donald
when he
was
came
coming out from Pittsburgh, JP, I watched the film on him, and I'm sitting there watching the film, and I'm going, he's really good. He's got quickness. He's got suddenness. But, man, he's kind of small. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I watched the film on him. I didn't see a Hall of Fame guy. I watched the film on T.J. Watt, and I was like, I don't think he's a first rounder. He's probably a second rounder. He's one of the best players in the league right now. So, again, it's a percentages game.
Yeah.
But, when I watched the defensive end in Cleveland,
Myles Garrett.
Hands down, this guy's a super freak, no doubt. This guy is a Hall of Fame type of talent. So that's one of the guys that I probably watched. When I watched Clowney coming out, I was like, Clowney, this guy can do everything. He's sudden, he's violent, he can play anywhere, he can be moved around. I don't know if he's a great pass rusher. So, my evaluation on him was fairly accurate. It wasn't perfect because I thought that he would be more of an impact throughout his career. But one of those guys that's just, freakish. And so, again, because it's a percentages game, I don't ever think that you go into any pick saying, this guy's a Hall of Famer. It just doesn't work that way.
Mm. The other part, a lot of conversation, about a 30-minute or plus press conference today for Trent Baalke and Doug Pederson, but he talked about the different variables that you look at when scouting a prospect. One of those is football IQ, and how do you scout that as a GM and a scouting staff?
we Zoom call these guys. We send coaches to workouts. We send coaches to meet with them. We bring them in on the 30 visit. We get in front of them as much as we can. Every opportunity we get a chance to talk to a guy that we have concerns about, we do. We interview them at the Combine. We interview them at the All-Star games. We interview them at their pro days. We get as much time in front of them as we can. The coaches make calls to the coaches that work with these players. You gather as much as you can, and usually by the time you get to the draft, you got them pretty well figured out from that perspective. And sometimes guys come in and they fool you, and you can't just use test scores to say a guy can learn or can't learn. That doesn't work. There's guys that have had low test scores that learn extremely well. There's guys that have had high test scores that don't learn very well when it comes to football. So you just got to do your homework.
And we know from the past around here, at least the recent past, that Doug Pederson, from a coaching perspective, needs that high football IQ type of player. And certainly in those skill positions at wide receiver, when guys are moving and routes can change mid-play, and you've got to be on and know everything going on.
And I think it's pretty unique, my experiences in the league for being around it for a long time as a player and then as an analyst, is that there are different kinds of smarts. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have a player who is book smart to be smart in football or to have football IQ. I mean, some of the smartest guys I was ever around, some of them weren't book smart, but, man, they knew football. And they had that instinct, that anticipation when they played the game that other guys that were smart and could test, on paper, outstanding. But you put them in that moment, and they just it didn't function. It didn't compute for them. So I think Trent is spot on when he talks about how there's different kinds of football smarts, and and the one thing that I would do if I was a GM, and I'm sure that this football team probably does it, I would think that they would, is that you're getting ready to invest in the draft. Okay, JP. This year's draft class, what's the total amount that this team has to spend for this draft class ballpark? Do you know anybody chance?
It's like 10 or something, 10 to 12.
But it's it's $10 million. But I mean, contracts overall. If you added up the total value of the contract, it's what is it? $100 million? I mean, it's expensive.
Okay,
it's a lot of money.
It's not cheap.
So if you're getting ready to invest millions of dollars, wouldn't you hire a quote person to vet, to do background research, to investigate everything that you could find about the prospects that you say, hey, look, we like these guys. Let's get to know more about them. Private eye. I mean, whatever you want to call them. I would want to know everything about these guys. If I'm getting ready to drop millions of dollars down in an investment and to bring in to my locker room guys that I know could have a big impact and they also could have a bad impact, I want to know as much as I can. And I'm not saying that you need to have Sherlock Holmes.
Old CIA guys in there, like doing the wiretapping and things? No. All that? No?
And no, I'm not talking
Get
about
Smart. Remember that show?
Yeah, I know. That was awesome.
The shoe phone.
The shoe phone.
Pull that out.
But to the point of that you try to pursue every relationship, every avenue that you possibly can to investigate somebody's background that you're going to be investing millions in. And not so much because of the dollar amount, but because if you mess up and somebody's a bad person, you've lost an opportunity to improve your team. So I would think when Trent talks about, you're talking to all these people and that's all part of that vetting process and doing the background work to find out who that person is at its core.
Plenty ahead. We'll hear from the head coach, Doug Pederson. We'll hear from Trevor Lawrence on the contract discussions. That's all ahead. We're on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. And Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving.
During the winter, you can give it a rest. Lawns only need watering up to once a week. Really, that's it. Using less water means you're saving time and money that you can put towards something else. Before you run your sprinklers, remember, give it a rest and only water up to once a week. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Get out and go to the spring sales event at your local Ford dealer. Don't miss low financing or big cash back on a large selection of Ford trucks or SUVs. Go start the job and finish it with a great deal on America's best-selling trucks, Ford F-150 and Super Duty. Or bring the whole crew and hit the road, go off-road, or take the back roads in a new Ford Bronco, Bronco Sport, or Explorer. All designed to keep you going. Get out and go to the spring sales event at your local Ford dealer today, based on 1977 to 2023 CY total sales.
I'm John Davis, Secretary of the Florida Lottery, and I'm proud to lead an agency that is creating brighter futures for Florida students, families, and communities. As the primary funding source of the Bright Future Scholarship Program, the lottery has helped nearly 1 million students reach their dream of a post-secondary education. And we will continue to do our part to ensure that every student across this state is aware of these opportunities and has the resources needed to succeed. Because together, we can build a brighter future for all.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Don't get sacked by a no-name propane rookie, Jacksonville. Draft an all-star and switch to AmeriGas, the official propane provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the homes and businesses who know it was always the Jags. Show off your Duval pride at your next tailgate with a Jaguars grill tank from AmeriGas. To find an AmeriGas exchange location near you or to order a propane fill-up for your home or business, visit AmeriGas.com/Jacksonville-Jaguars or call 844-PRO-JAGS.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
There's definitely been some conversations, as far as where that's at now. It's not really my focus. I'd love to obviously be a Jag. So for as long as possible, we love it here, and I love where we're headed as an organization, and feel like I'm just getting better every year, and my best ball is definitely ahead of me. So from that standpoint, obviously, yeah, that would be great. But like you said, it's going into my fourth year. It's not like this is necessarily going to be my last season. There's a lot that could happen. So not really my focus right now. At the end of the day, my job isn't going to change whether I get extended or not before this season. My job is to go win games and to be the best I can be for this team so we can have a chance to win a Super Bowl. So even if I get the contract extension, that's still my job, even more so. There's even more expectation and pressure on that. So for me, I have the same focus and the same mindset. I can't lie, obviously it would be nice to have that done and feel good about it, but no, it's not really the focus right now. I know where we're at, I know where we're heading, and I know what I have to do, and there's some improvements that I have to make going forward.
That is Trevor Lawrence earlier this week discussing the contract negotiations. And welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. And whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. They've been trusted by their customers for almost 40 years. Trust them to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Well, Trent Baalke today discussed the other side of those conversations.
Hey, real quick, though, let me just throw out there because, Trevor's conversation about his contract. Mm-hmm. And me and you were having a conversation during the break, and that they have the opportunity to pick up the fifth-year option in May.
May 2nd is the deadline for both of the first-round draft picks that year. It'd be him and Travis Etienne.
And because Trevor is in his party, and Trent talked about how they're having conversations with Trevor's people. We talked about that today.
As recently as last night.
Yep. Yeah. And so I was going to make the suggestion to Trevor, because you see a lot of these NFL players that are doing that now, that they stop following the team on social media. And so I was going to say to Trevor, he needs to stop following the Jaguars, remove any kind of Jaguars logos from his social media accounts until he gets a new contract. Is that not the dumbest thing you've ever heard? How people do that? It's stupid. It's childish. Who was the latest guy that just did that? I can't remember who it was. I was reading somewhere.
Didn't Jalen do that? With
yeah, Jalen did it too. And I mean, it's such a childish clown act. I mean, come on. Are you serious? Boy, that's really going to change the posture of the negotiations.
That'll show them.
If you remove your team from your social media account. Come on.
By the way, the Jaguars have been nominated for a Webby Award in the sports video category for the 2023 schedule release video, but we can't win without you. Go cast your vote now at webbyawards.com, WEBBY awards.com. This is the last day you can vote. You got to get it in today, I believe, before midnight Eastern.
I voted last week.
Thank you for that. We appreciate that. Let's continue with the Jaguars head coach, who is also at the podium today alongside Trent Baalke, and, was asked a lot about the working together, the cooperation between scouting and coaching, and it continues here in 2024.
As far as, our involvement as a staff and myself, it's the best I've been around. It's one of the things that Trent really has been open to the evaluation process from the coaches, right? And he understands the coaching side of it as well as the scouting side of it. And the involvement has been, it's the same every year. It's probably even gotten a little bit more, just the more comfortable that we are working together. And it takes everybody, to put a roster together. And it's not about one guy making all the decisions, right? And so there's a lot of input. He values what the coaches say and how the coaches rank and stack players. Just like, we appreciate what the scouts do, because they're the ones that are out there, every single day scouting these players. So it's been a really good process, and one that as a coach, you can really appreciate.
All right, so that's Doug Pederson's perspective and response about that today at the press conference. Full press conference available at Jaguars.com. And this is an interesting time of year because players are back in, off-season program. So you got to balance what you're doing with them for at least a few hours a day and getting the everything, the new defense going and all this going on, strength and conditioning right now. And then you're getting ready for the draft as well, and you're contributing to that process. So for a head coach, there's a lot on this plate.
Well, and they also talked a little bit during the press conference, because now that you have a new defense and a new defensive coordinator, for example, past coaches here in the past, Mike Smith wanted a certain type of corner, wanted a certain type of defensive lineman. Mm-hmm. Okay, Gus Bradley wanted the length corners, the tall, long kind of guys, kind of like what they had in Seattle back in the day. Mike Caldwell wanted corners that could play some man. Okay, what does Ryan want? Then so there's been these conversations. According to today, Trent said that they had a conversation. Last name Ryan Nielsen, right? The new defensive coordinator.
Right. Yep.
And him and Trent had a conversation about the type of players that he wants to have for his defense, and then also Trent alluded to the fact that it's kind of comes a little bit from that mindset of the Parcells camp. So Trent said he has experience, kind of looking for those types that Nielsen is looking for. But that's important because coaches always want to have a certain skill set at every position group in their mind that's going to be able to function to make it all work together. So it'll be interesting to see a lot of things on the defensive side of the ball this year. Number one is the draft and how they draft and what type of players are they going to be targeting. But then also what's the targeted players, how are they going to fit into this new scheme? Because, we think we know what the scheme's going to be. We don't know for sure. Because every time, even though a defensive coordinator may move from team A to team B, a lot of times the staff that he has from team A to team B will change, and sometimes a little bit of that scheme will change along with it because of input from others. So it'll be fun to watch to see all of that come together.
Again, the full press conference from today available at Jaguars.com. Let's rewind a little bit back to Tuesday. That was Tuesday, right? Today's Thursday?
Today is Thursday.
All day, right?
Yeah, every Thursday we do this show.
All day. It's Thursday.
Not all day. Just
well, no, the show's an hour.
4 to 5 this time of year.
But 24 hours. Yeah. It's Thursday. But 2 days ago was Tuesday, and that's when Trevor Lawrence, who we just heard from a moment ago, and Foye Oluokun, the Jaguars linebacker, spoke. And as you said, Logs, a little different on defense, new coordinator, some new faces there. But for Foye Oluokun, he's been around here for a couple years now. He's trying to make that transition as well. There's a lot of new. However, he's not putting away the disappointment of last season so easily.
That would be in a rear view, maybe next year after the season. I mean, I got a lot of questions on it throughout the offseason, and it's hard to think about just when it even started. We started off winning, but we weren't winning convincingly how maybe the score might have showed, but we knew that we weren't playing our best football, and I think a lot of those things caught up to us, and then trying to right our wrongs a little too late in the season, then it's a little bit more stressful when teams are hitting their stride and we're trying to find out how to do things right. Yeah, that hurt for sure, and I think it will fuel us. Everybody's committed to doing things right this time around. You don't want to get in that position again, and it starts from the first game all the way to the last. But just keeping improving every week, no matter what the scoreboard is. Keeping our standard every week, because sometimes you win games that you didn't play your best. Now you don't learn from them if you're not trying to get better. I think that kind of happened to us, and we're not going to do that this year.
Foye Oluokun, pretty telling answer about how things were last year.
That might be the most relaxed I've ever seen him in front of a camera. Usually he's so intense.
Yeah.
He's kind of relaxed. It's that time of year, though, I guess.
I guess that's part of it, but maybe the environment's a little different too, right? I mean, there was a lot going on the last couple of years.
Maybe.
As he alluded to there.
Foy's a super smart guy. We were talking earlier about football IQ. You want to talk about football IQ, that guy right there. If there was a way to mine or to withdraw some of that football IQ and share it with the rest of the team,
like a serum or something.
Like you'd like take blood out of him, because it's got all that football IQ.
Transfusion.
I mean, he's incredible. I mean, literally, when you watch the film on him, he is always stepping in the direction that the play is going before the play is actually going in that direction. It's amazing to watch. He is Daryl Smith. In Jaguars history, I'm talking about special inside linebackers that I really enjoyed watching.
Okay. Yeah.
First of all, I love the motor of Mike Pederson.
Yeah.
Okay, and the guy was just 100 miles an hour all the time. Mm-hmm. Daryl Smith, the consistency, the strength, the such a well-rounded game that he could play. The Mike, the Sam, the Will, it didn't matter.
It never should have left Jacksonville. That's
never. That was one of the dumbest decisions in Jaguars history, was letting him go.
Anyway.
But watching Foye on film is pure joy. You can look at his 75th snap of a game and compare it to his first snap, and he's still playing at the same speed. I don't know how anybody can do that. But watching the anticipation that he plays the game with is fun to watch, and it's impressive to watch. I think the people that know football and can really and people that have played the game, that like me, that are watching a guy like that, that says something that he's fun to watch just because of that standpoint, the intelligence that he plays this game at.
Paul Posluszny's in that realm too.
Oh my God, but Paul was one of those guys that he just never wasted a step. So he would wait and then he was just gone, but he never wasted steps. He didn't anticipate as much as Foye does, and to some extent. He was good, but not quite as fast with that first step. Now, Telvin Smith was always one step behind, but he was so daggum fast getting there.
Or he would run ahead of it and catch back up because he was so fast.
He was amazing, just the speed that he played the game at. But, I mean, Paz, Daryl Smith, and Foye, I mean, those guys, I mean, that's the elite class in Jaguars history. I mean, some really, really good players.
And the other fun part about I know Paul and Posluszny enjoyed this, was that he had 11 interceptions while he was here as well.
Yeah,
and
one of them I
remember. That tells you he's back in coverage and reading things right, and maybe
what's the one you remember the most?
Oh, Peyton Manning, right?
In Denver.
In Denver.
And he had the club or something on his hand,
something
or whatever
weird was going on.
Something going on with his hand, and he early in the game, picks it off and takes it to the house.
But that tells you he's fooled the quarterback. He's back in coverage. He's athletic enough to do all that too, and that's football IQ.
Pause. I used to love hearing Gus Bradley say pause. It was pause. It was never pause.
Speaking of Gus Bradley, a side note here before we go to break. Yesterday was the Jags local pro day, where they have local prospects from maybe schools around here, or they grew up here.
Was Carter Bradley in that?
Carter Bradley, quarterback, was here. Gus's son.
Yeah, he's a prospect. He's a possible draft pick.
Yep.
Maybe late round pick, possibly undrafted guy. Yeah. But he's a diehard fisherman. Carter Bradley is. So when he was here, he's a young man. So he's grown up. No doubt about it. The Jags are celebrating their 30th season, and the time to get your 2024 season ticket membership. Well, Logs, right now would be a good time to do that. It's always a good time.
Never a bad time. Be at the bank for every touchdown and secure your seats at jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. When we return, if we haven't already, we will keep it real. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving.
What's the best part about lawn care during the winter? You can give it a rest. Lawns only need watering up to once a week. Really, that's it. Using less water means you're saving time and money that you can put towards something else. Before you run your sprinklers, remember, give it a rest and only water up to once a week. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
With the first pick in the 2024 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Duck Rooter, the #1 plumbing, septic, and underground utility contractor in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked #1?
Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help with any plumbing or septic issue, just give us a call and relax. We'll send one of our first-round draft picks to get the job done right. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hi, this is Walker Little from the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV, store it at Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida, free 24-hour access, month-to-month leases. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find out why they're Jacksonville's #1 pick for storage.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
There are those who wait for spring, and then there are Cadillac drivers who boldly inspire spring's arrival in stunning sedans poised to outrun winter, or in stylish SUVs. Bringing together design and performance with such exuberance, they make every day feel like that first warm day of the year. So this spring, don't wait. Be among those who inspire boldness in bloom at the Cadillac Move Up sales event. Visit your local Cadillac dealer today.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. J.P. Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, glad you're with us today. Jaguars.com, 1010XL AM, Jaguars YouTube, all the places that we're always on, each and every week.
A lot of places.
Yeah, everywhere. Well, almost everywhere.
With these things here, the phone.
Oh yeah.
If you don't get it, can't get it, it's your own fault.
Yeah.
Everything.
That's right. It's your fault.
Everything is available through the phone.
Hey, the draft is almost here. We're a week away from the first round. A week from tonight.
Looking forward to it.
We'll be in the stadium.
Who do you think is going to be the first overall pick, JP? It's kind of a big mystery.
Is it? No, it's the Southern Cal quarterback. Who are you talking about? Caleb Williams is going.
Okay, who's going to go second? Just trivia for you.
Probably another quarterback.
What do you think? Jaden Daniels?
Probably. I would
Or
say
May?
probably. Who's picking second? I don't even know. I haven't paid
Washington.
attention. I'll probably go May.
I'd take May too.
And then it'll probably be Daniels right after that, is my guess. 3 in a row.
Yeah, his accuracy this past year was pretty incredible. Touchdown interception ratio was good. He's athletic. Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch him. But man, May's got those numbers. Sometimes the numbers you can't let them overrule the performance. But when you watch his tape, he's got that height that that you can see. He's got a big arm. He's a big guy. I mean, he's kind of that prototypical NFL quarterback. I would be surprised if he doesn't go second, but you never know.
You never know. We'll find out a week from tonight, and we'll be at the official Duval draft party at the bank, presented by Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. And the party starts at 7 o'clock. Tickets are free. Register today. Jaguars.com/draft party. We'll have pre-shows from the stadium. You guys will have a radio show on 1010XL.
That's right. Me, Frank,
FM.
and Big Baselli. And I think you're going to come on with us for a little bit.
I'll hop in there when I can. And then we've got coverage leading into 8 o'clock, pre-game coverage, if you will. And then right after the pick, we'll have live coverage and all that on Jaguars.com and Jaguars social media. All right, so it's time to keep it real, as we always do. Insert sponsor here. So, our topic today, 3 positions the Jaguars should pick up this week, or next week, rather, in the draft. Thursday, for whatever, they pick them up, whatever. 3 positions they should draft this year. Go, top 3.
Top 3, and you want them ranked?
I want them ranked.
I mean, right now, if you do it as far as needs go, corner I would put at the top, just because Darius Williams is no longer around. This is a passing league, and right now you need some help in the back end. You got a pretty good amount of depth and quality of play at safety, but corner is where you need help, and you've been trying to get some late-round picks to hit over the last couple of years, but really nobody has risen to the front. So I think that's number 1. Number 2, I would say, is offensive line.
Interior or outside?
I think either one, because and having a guy that can have some flexibility, maybe play inside and then eventually move outside or vice versa, I think is great. You've got to protect the franchise, and the franchise is your quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. And last year you had a deficiency on how physical you were up front, and that needs to be addressed, in my opinion.
I have a question, side note question. We'll get to number 3 in a moment.
Yeah.
What's wrong with having a guy that plays one position, and that's solidified for 10 years?
Nothing wrong with that at all, because you can move somebody else if somebody else has some positional flexibility.
I guess that guy's hard to find, obviously.
Which one? Which guy's hard to find?
The one guy who's there for 10 years that is a rock and solid and is going to be a franchise.
Well, I mean, Joe Alt's going to be a rock 10 years left tackle. I mean,
he's not swinging around.
And again, nothing's set in stone, because if you remember, I remember going back to my draft class, I think it was, and the front page of Sports Illustrated was future Hall of Famer Tony Mandarich. And people are like, this guy's a shoe-in to the Hall of Fame. Yeah. He's going to be the next great offensive lineman. And it didn't happen. I mean, the steroids thing kind of came out. He was an average player at best. I mean, but he was an average player. I mean, so it's not like he was a poor player. But, I mean, it's one of those things. It's hard to find somebody that's going to do that. But Joe Alt from Notre Dame is a guy that if he's available at 17, JP, I'd probably take him.
You're running up there.
He's not going to be available at 17.
I mean, so, like Cam Robinson, right? First pick of the second round. And
I mean,
he's been the left tackle for 10 years.
Look, the positions, corner, offensive line, and then the third one, I'm going to just throw it out there because I'm not going to give it a specific position because it can be on the inside or it can be on the outside. You got to have somebody that can rush the passer. And right now I think you don't have a lot of depth on the edge. If you can get another edge rusher, by all means. If Latu's there at 17, I mean, there's some –
You were drooling about him
love
last
the guy,
week.
and I told you about it. He's just crazy good. Jared Verse, Florida State, would be my second best edge rusher. Love him. And then you have some of the smaller guys that I don't put in those two categories. The kid at Alabama, Dallas Turner, I believe his name is. There's a kid at Penn State that's pretty good. That's
Chop
a little
Robinson.
Chop's the bigger
the
of the
big
two. There's another one there. Chop, I think wears 33. It's number 20 at Penn State. And I could find it in a minute. But
Adisa Isaac.
And then, I'm trying to think of who else there's the edge rushers. But, I mean, those two guys are the elite players that you're talking about is Latu and Jared Verse, in my opinion.
Talking about Adisa Isaac wears 20.
Yes, thank you.
Penn State.
So, I mean, those three positions, corner, offensive line, and a pass rusher. The interior, the defensive tackles, you've got Zerhan Newton and Byron Murphy, I believe it is, from Texas. Newton is from Illinois. These guys are kind of interesting in that they're smaller guys. When I say smaller, shorter guys, not small. I mean, they're both 300-pound guys. But they're shorter. They're 6'1", they're 6'2", and some people are comparing Murphy to a little bit of Aaron Donald. I don't know if I'd go so far to make that comparison, but he's a really good football player. And Newton, obviously, Illinois guy, so that's the alma mater of Tony Khan and Shad Khan, and so there's a little bit of home bias there, I'm sure, just because he's a good football player from Illinois. But I don't know if the guy that you just brought in, Eric Armstead, 6'6", 290 pounds, and he's got arms that are this long right here, JP.
That's pretty long.
Let me turn it this way so the cameras can see. And for those that are listening on radio, just imagine my
For
arms
those
spread
listening
wide apart.
on radio, it's long. Yeah.
My arms are spread wide
That's
apart.
right.
But, I mean, those top two rated guys at defensive tackle, they don't have that kind of length. And there's not really a defensive tackle that's rated as a first-round talent that has that kind of length. So it'll be interesting to see how that position works out for this team. Because remember, we went into the season, we said they've got to get better on the interior of the offensive line and the defensive line. They got to get more physical.
We did say that.
Well, we'll see. Can they do it? I don't know.
Clock's about to run out. You got to do it at some point. That was keeping it real. Each week we do a draft position preview, and you touched on one of the guys in this position group we're going to talk about today. Offensive tackles. I ask you each week to pick your top three guys, or three guys, not your top three.
Yeah.
Let's start with Joe Alt of Notre Dame, who you like.
He's just so big, and I guess he's young, but I don't know the specifics of his birthday or anything, but he's like 6'8", 322 pounds, and he's so long that when you watch him get down in his 3-point stance, his butt is like higher than his shoulder pads a lot of times, and it's just so odd because like when you watch Baselli get down in his stance, he'd be able to have that bend and his shoulder pads were above his hips. But make no mistake, Joe Alt is a punishing blocker. Got tremendous length. This guy is, I think it's hands down, he's the best offensive lineman in the draft. And I mean, again, it's a percentages game, so I'm not making any guarantees, but this is one of those guys that you feel like has a chance to be that starter at that one position, JP, for a decade.
He's 21 years old, by the way. Just turned 21.
Yeah, he's a young 21.
Yeah. His dad is John Alt, played for the Chiefs from 84 to 96.
I played against his dad.
How was he?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Big, long guy, just like Joe.
Runs in the family, apparently.
Yeah.
J.C. Latham, Alabama tackle. Who you like?
And, he's not rated amongst the top 3 or 4 guys on a lot of boards. But, man, you watch the film on him. First of all, he's got the size. He's a 6'6", 335, 40-pound guy.
Yeah, somewhere. He's big.
He's big, okay. But he carries it really well. And when you watch him on film, he moves effortlessly. I mean, he's just a very graceful, big guy that moves very well. I think the ceiling is really high for him. I think what we've seen from him at Alabama is just the tip of the iceberg, to use that statement there. But, I mean, I think he's got a lot of room for growth. He's a right tackle now. Was a right tackle at Alabama. I think he could play left, but I think he's very comfortable on the right. Leave him at right. And in today's NFL, left tackle, right tackle, they both need to be good pass protectors. He is a special player just because of the grace that he plays the game with, the agility that he plays the game with. And it's not very often that you have somebody that's 6'6", 335, 40 pounds that moves gracefully. That's not easy to find.
No, that's really tough. And it could tell you a lot about what the future could hold for Cam Robinson and Walker Little if they were to go with this position very early in this draft, you know?
Could. And by the way, just a side note, he's not in my top 3, but Mims, the guy from Georgia who has not played a lot, Amarius Mims, he's a guy that I think could be a good second-round pick for a team. He's also got some of that gift of natural size and athleticism as well. But my third guy is Fuanga.
Talise Fuaga, Oregon State.
It's actually Fuanga.
Yes.
There's an N in there that's in the pronunciation that's not in there.
Thank you.
In the spelling. And this is a big mauling right tackle. One of these guys that if you want to have a little bit of attitude with your offensive line, which this offensive line here needs a little bit of that, he's going to provide some of that. The one thing that I will say about him is that it's going to be – he's a little over-aggressive with his pass stuff. He gets caught. He gets his arms chopped. He gets caught leaning, which has me a little bit concerned, but he's just got kind of naturally gifted feet, the way he moves, which is fun to watch. And he definitely likes to he's not very nice on the field, which is what you like in an offensive lineman. And I think that's his biggest strength. And he's just a big dude. I mean, naturally big dude. The other guy that is on the top of many boards, which is Troy Fautanu from Washington. I'm not sure, Foutanu.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are excited about him. And when I watch him, I see guard. He doesn't have that natural size that Latham or Fuanga has, or that Mims has, or Alt. He's shorter in stature. He's got really good hands and really good athleticism. But I think he could play tackle, but I think his natural spot is guard, and I think he's got a really natural movement to him. I think he would be better suited to playing guard.
Did you look at Olu Fashanu from Penn State, tackle?
I did, and he's big. I mean, he's naturally big.
Don't watch the Ohio State game.
Don't watch it.
Oh.
No, JP, I'm just telling you.
Tui Moloau, for 2 years in a row, ripped that offensive line to shreds, including him.
And there's a reason many people have him rated in the top 3 because he's a left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about him that's a little off. Like when he sets, he doesn't gain a lot of ground with his sets. So he's kicking, but he's not gaining a lot of ground.
Moving.
And then so a lot of times he ends up having to turn to catch up, to chase a guy. And when an offensive tackle turns to chase a guy, he's essentially opened the negate, shortening the corner. And he's a little stiff, So that's why I have.
There you go. He wasn't on your list.
Why he wasn't on my list. Many people had him up there.
Yeah.
He's a big guy now. He's 6'6", you know, and but again, it's there's something a little bit too mechanical, and then again, the steps don't seem to be as fluid.
There you have it. A look at offensive tackles. We're back in a moment with Microsoft social media questions on 1010XL, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving.
What's the best part about lawn care during the winter? you can give it a rest. Lawns only need watering up to once a week. Really, that's it. Using less water means you're saving time and money that you can put towards something else. Before you run your sprinklers, remember, give it a rest and only water up to once a week. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, Advantage You. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Get out and go to the spring sales event at your local Ford dealer. Don't miss low financing or big cash back on a large selection of Ford trucks or SUVs. Go start the job and finish it with a great deal on America's best-selling trucks, Ford F-150 and Super Duty. Or bring a whole crew and hit the road, go off-road, or take the back roads in a new Ford Bronco, Bronco Sport, or Explorer. All designed to keep you going. Get out and go to the spring sales event at your local Ford dealer today. Based on 1977 to 2023 CY total sales.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Don't get sacked by a no-name propane rookie at Jacksonville. Draft an all-star and switch to AmeriGas, the official propane provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the homes and businesses who know it was always the Jags. Show off your Duval pride at your next tailgate with a Jaguars grill tank from AmeriGas. To find an AmeriGas exchange location near you or to order a propane fill-up for your home or business, visit AmeriGas.com/Jacksonville-Jaguars or call 844-PRO-JAGS.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Tough way to end for me. Did everything that I could to try to get back, but was just a couple weeks behind. But I'm feeling really good. You know, spent about a month here after the season just trying to get my body back to the place that it needed to be, and you know, I'm pain-free now, and you know, just happy to be back in the building around the guys, and just, you know, with a new mindset and new mentality to just bounce back from last year. Obviously, we didn't meet the expectations that we had for ourselves, and you know, we have a chip on our shoulder, and we're going to come in every day in the off-season program and work towards that.
Christian Kirk caught up with him in the hallway yesterday here at the Miller Electric Center. The full conversation at Jaguars.com. Remember, he had a core muscle thing for a while, was trying to play through it, and then a groin injury on that Monday Night Football game. First catch of the game, he goes down. He's done for the year. Was actually back on the practice field some weeks later, which is remarkable, but just couldn't find his way to the game field. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. And he was the key to the whole thing on offense, I felt. I mean, he was gone, and it was like a totally different world.
Yeah, and I mean, you add in, you know, with last year, the quarterback dealing with a variety of injuries last year, and then losing the most dependable receiving option that he had in Christian Kirk. And, you know, that's kind of was what was part of the contribution to one of the worst finishes to a season in franchise history.
Oh, the worst. Oh, come on. One of? Well, it was not even close.
Trying to be nice. Jeez,
come on, Logs. This is what it was.
I'm trying to be nice.
Being nice business is what it was.
Okay.
It was 5 of 6.
All right, well, go ahead and let everybody know.
8 and 3. Everybody knows. Everyone's aware. Trust me. Well, they brought it up with the team man, Trevor Lawrence.
We heard earlier talking about Foye and Trevor talking about how they're going to use that as motivation, and they should. I mean, they should be bitter and angry about it, because that's. I mean, they were at one point, were they 8 and 3?
Yes.
And teams or people around the league were talking about the Jaguars being the team to beat in the National Football League, and then it was the most epic collapse in franchise history. And then, yeah, that should leave a bad taste in your mouth and give you a lot of extra motivation going into every year in the future.
AEW returns to Daly's Place coming up soon. 2 action-packed nights. AEW Dynamite April 24th, AEW Collision and Rampage April 27th. Tickets on sale now, dailysplace.com. J.P. Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Time for the social media questions powered by Microsoft. We put the cat signal out today. Here's the best we've come up with. At JagsFan72, what are the chances of the Jaguars getting the trifecta this offseason? Josh Allen signed, check. Extend Trevor Lawrence, and the stadium deal. Well, I mean, the Trevor Lawrence stuff's being talked about.
Am I trying to put a number on this? I mean, is that what I'm
chances,
supposed to do?
Right, I guess. Chances.
First of all,
percentage?
I'm not in those discussions, but that Trent Baalke is having, and also, as Trent said today, ownership is involved in that because the size of the contract is going to be probably bigger than the initial value of the franchise when it was purchased by Wayne Weaver.
Sure.
You're
serious.
I'm not joking.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
I'm being dead serious.
Right.
I mean, that's where that contract's probably going to be at,
yeah.
Which is a large number. And the stadium deal, I would hope that it gets done. It needs to get done.
From all reports, it's trending the right way.
So, I'm feeling positive on all fronts. If
you want a percentage, that 85?
You want me to put a number on it?
I'll put 80.
I'll go 75.
Okay, that's good.
I'll go 75. 70, 75, somewhere in that range. Yeah,
good. It's good.
I mean, I hope it's like
100,
99.9, because there's never a sure thing in life. So I'll stick with the 99.9
because it's April 18th.
But 75, 75.
There's a lot of.
What else you got?
A lot of weeks ahead. At GTRZN71. What is the real difference between Doug calling plays versus Press calling plays? Ultimately, doesn't Doug have final say? From Trevor's comments, it seems he wants Press for the continuity unless he's just towing the company line.
Well, I don't get the impression that Trevor toes the company lines because he feels like he's obligated to toe company lines. So I think that's a little bit of I don't want to say it's an insult, but it's not very fair. Trevor, I think, is very open and honest and speaks his mind. And look, I get it. And that Doug always has the ultimate authority. He's the head coach, and he's an offensive-minded head coach. Now, what's the difference between Doug or Press calling the plays? I think every play caller has a groove, and every play caller can be in a groove and then also lose the groove, just like a batter in baseball. You feel like you just, when you step to the plate, you're seeing the ball and you're just feeling the ball and you're making great contact, and then sometimes you hit a slump. And sometimes you just don't feel like that, hey, I can't make anything right. I can't swing the bat well at all. And I think sometimes that happens with a play caller too.
You know who had the groove in the second half of games in 2022?
Press Taylor.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
all of a sudden he can't call plays.
I think they're both capable of calling plays, and yes, Doug has the ultimate oversight because he's the head coach.
Yeah, he can veto.
He can veto anything he wants.
He's on the headset.
He can make suggestions. He can tell Press what to do. Hey, Press, by the way, you're going to call ZX right 34 on 2 and give him the snap count as well. Whatever that play call would be.
Yeah. What would that be, you think?
What's that?
That Z, whatever you just said.
I'm making something up. Defense, it was just so simple.
Pirate. Let's run the pirate.
Yes, over pirate cover 3. Okay, break. Off the offensive terminology, put it this way: if it was like an efficiency of use of words, defensive play call might be like 5 words. An offensive play call might have, and defense would have a combination of words and numbers. So I would say 5 total.
I'm not going to talk about the football IQ of defensive players.
Offense might have like 12 to 15 word number combinations.
It's a lot.
It's very different.
The Microsoft questions are in. Thank you for the submissions, and thanks for listening. Here, a week from tonight, we'll be doing the draft.
Looking forward to it. I love the draft. I do. I love the draft. And then I'm looking forward to, I got a little reunion next weekend too, JP.
Quickly.
1984 Virginia State High School baseball champions. I have a reunion to go to.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
Congratulations.
why I used a little baseball thing earlier.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Our thanks to Joe Fortunato, Brent Reber, For Jeff Lageman, I'm J.P. Shadrick. Thanks to you for listening. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by the St. Johns River Water Management District, Florida's water.